This trick triples cold email response rates. The cold email can come out of the blue. That is, you got the email address from a service as the result of something the recipient did, like enter their email address on your website. Or as the result of a referral, you got the email from a mutual contact. Essential concept. The sole purpose of a cold email is to get a response that allows you to open a conversation with the recipient that might lead to a sales, an interview, or something else that you want from that person. What doesn't work? Unfortunately, almost all cold emails attempt to jump over the conversational step and instead go directly to pitching, selling, or even demanding that the recipient do the sender a favor. Here's a real-life example lifted right from my inbox. Hello Jeffrey, at Edcast, we are excited about our recent announcements about our integration with Microsoft Office and ServiceNow, as well as our new Content Exchange content partnership. Notice how the call to action demands that I take 2 time-consuming actions. 1. Read a huge glop of information, and 2. Write a response to what I've read. I don't want to leave the impression that Edcast, whoever they are particularly obnoxious. In fact, they're simply doing what most cold email do. Placing as many barriers as possible to getting a response from the recipient, in this case, me. What does work? There are many ways to increase the response rate of a cold email, but far and away the most important technique is to create the lowest possible barrier to getting a response from the recipient, thereby starting the conversation. The lowest barrier to starting a conversation is a yes/no question where saying yes entails a minimal time commitment from the recipient. Here's why. A yes/no question requires only 3 thumb movements on a phone: reply, yes, send, which is where most people do most of their email. Those 3 thumb movements take about 1 to 2 seconds. It's a really low barrier. However, even a yes/no question is unlikely to get a yes response if that yes response commits the recipient to do something expensive or time-consuming. Example. Wrong, too much commitment. Do you want to buy now? Can I schedule a meeting with you? Right, minimal commitment. Does this interest you? Are you the right person to be thinking about this? The first 2 examples entail major commitments, so the email will either be ignored or you'll get a no response. The second 2 examples entail almost no commitment and are thus much more likely to get a yes email response. What happens then? Once you've gotten a response, you're in a conversation, and only at this point does it make sense to provide more information and detail than the minimal essential that you included in the cold email. Even then, though, you should continue to end each email with a yes/no question that entails as little commitment of time, money as possible. Example. Does this still interest you? Is this making sense? Eventually, you'll want to segue the email conversation into a telephone conversation. Even then, you should make the initial request as a yes/no question with as little commitment of time, money as possible. Example. Wrong, too much commitment. How can I get on your schedule? What time can you be available for a demo? Right, minimal commitment. Does a 10-minute conversation make sense to you at this point? Would you like to see a 15-minute demonstration? The first 2 examples could easily end the conversation because they entail both a decision and a time commitment. The second 2 examples are more likely to get a yes response because, while they may lead to a commitment of time in the future, in themselves they do not ask for a commitment of time or money. Only after you've gotten a yes response to that very minimal commitment do you attempt to get on the recipient's schedule. To summarize. Rather than flooding the recipient with information and demanding huge commitments, you've opened a conversation where the recipient makes a series of small commitments, eventually getting to the point where the 2 of you are on the phone together. Thanks for watching.